I let's try this again. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello? Anybody? I can see you. I see you on the thing there. It seems every time we do a live from here at the shop, it always takes 2 or 3 restarts before the thing actually catches and goes. Okay, now I don't see anything moving here at all. Oh, jeez. Tell me I got to do this again. Hello? It's frozen. Is it frozen? I see there's 41 of you in here. We already got 8 thumbs up. Thank you. Shit. Hello? All right, I'm just going to stay here quietly until somebody can tell me that you can actually see or hear me. I'm going to call the house and see if Kathy Bananas can hear or see me. Hello? Can you hear or see me on the frickin' TV? Okay, wait, here it comes. All right, now it's moving. Now people can actually. Only this channel can start itself. Okay, no, we've got people. The chat froze, so I was asking people if they could hear or see me, and I was getting nothing. And now everybody's here, and it's all rolling forward. And okay, hi, okay, there you go. Hi, everybody. It's Sunday night. 2.4 minutes in. Here, Kathy Banana, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Okay, go ahead. Go tend to the dogs. Okay, bye. Oh, jeez. Okay. So where were we? All right. 80 Cobra Guy, Jason Christensen, Mike Georgie, Mexican Spec. What's happening? Olive is in the house. How you doing, Olive? No, Big Oil can't keep us down, man. Nobody can. Nathan McCree, Danny Boyd, Dripping Glass, retired coal miner, Territory, Fubar the Axe is in the house. Yes, I'm running solo. Kathy Bananas doesn't want to have anything to do with me anymore. She's done. Motorcycle. What's the secret to a long and happy marriage? Is it cool cars? Um, I've been married to Kathy now for 7,000, 8,000 years. I'm not even sure how long it's been. It's been a long time, really long time. The secret, do your thing, man. Just do your thing. You can't like meld into the other person. You always have to remember you're still 2 individual people with 2 individual things going on in your heads. And as long as you recognize that and you respect that, you're good to go. Um, let's see. Separating. Yes, she's had enough. She's like, take your YouTube hot rod nonsense and go away. Um, Ron Armstrong is saying long distance and infrequent visits. I mean, that's one way, and it's, whatever gets you down the track. Um, Motai is saying this is the awesome best part of Sunday, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Jack Fleming, you're in trouble if you can't remember how long you've been married, dude. It's been like eons. Let's see. So, okay, guys, I'm sorry. This chat is frozen again. It's not moving. Hang on. I think I have to go from top chat to live chat. Is this better? Okay. Is it going to move? It's moving. All right. Yes. Okay. We're back. We're back. All right. Mike Gojic, bro, I'm sorry for slaughtering your name. What do you think of the slate truck? I mean, from what I gather, it's like pretty much what we asked for, right? Like just bare bones, like that. It's an interesting concept. If it actually ever comes to market, and I'd be interested in checking it out. You know, it seems like they're answering the common man's request. Give me something simple with roll down windows that I can afford. Let's see what happens. Um, Rocco, too much squatting Slav content. Need to clear. This is a brand new laptop. There's nothing clogging it up yet. Squatting Slavs in tracksuits. It's a Facebook group. How did you know? How did you know I like that? That's a great group. Um, let's see. Captain Obvious, how old even are you? I'll be 63. I'm like next week. I'm like 63. Um, Territory Tony, just watched a video outlining the downfall of Motor Trend. Seems like we all knew it all that we knew it all along. TV CEOs not listening to YouTube creators. Looks like they didn't quite understand their age audience. I don't know. Here's the downfall of Motor Trend is that you can't get people to pay for this stuff. You can get it for free. You can soak up automotive content all day and all night, right? No shortage of it for free. So why would you pay for it? There's somebody else just launched a subscription service. Who was it? No, Joe Zolper, and oh god, Joe Zolper and a couple of other guys who do I think Stacy David is one of them. They just launched a subscription service. How are you going to get to pay? How are you going to get people to pay for automotive content when there's literally an infinite number? I say there's an infinite number of channels because more come on every single day. More come on every day. It's completely free. Why would anybody pay for a subscription service? Especially now when you go buy 2 bags of groceries and it's $150. No, it's just the days of the corporate controlled subscriptions and all that's over. Now it's a free for all, and that's what we're part of. We are the future. We are the media. All of us. We took it over. So thank you, Fubar. So shirts, and you would think that I would put on a clean shirt to do a live, especially when you're trying to. But no, it's an old dirty shirt. And I stop by. You guys ever eat at the hell's the name of it? Cookout? You guys have cookouts by you? I haven't had it in a long time. So I was just in the mood. I was like, okay, I need like a sloppy, cheap hamburger, right? So I went to Cookout and I got cheeseburgers with grilled onions. So now I say grilled onions. How do you mess up grilled onions? How do you make grilled onions weird? Okay. But they did. They figured out a way to make grilled onions weird. I took a bite of this thing. The grilled onions, they must have had an onion the size of a bowling ball. Okay. And they just cut it in slices, but cut it. So I took one bite of this thing and sucked out this giant mass of grilled onions that was all connected, and it pulled all of the cheese out at the same time, and it dripped it all over my shirt. And that's how I got here. Eating a Big Mac, cathartic scrapper. What a name, man. Eating a don't eat Big Macs. Don't eat Big Macs, man. That stuff's really bad. Even Cookout is bad, but not as bad as Mickey D. Tuesday train onions, yuck. Oh man, you don't know. You don't know. Let's see. I found a new Sunday restaurant. No, I didn't. I was so happened was I was working this weekend. I worked the finish line at a dog race. They call it Fast Cat. So it's a 16th mile, right? 330 feet, and they time. So this weekend, yesterday and today, I worked the finish line of this thing. Like the shutdown area and like the catch area. So I needed to grab something to eat on the way home, so I stopped at Cookout. Did I pet all of them? Yes, I try to. I try to. They're pretty like revved up at the end of this thing, and their owners are just trying to get them out of the area. I petted as many as I could. There was one dog that ran yesterday. Okay, so okay, like a 8.0 range, right? 8-second flat range, right? 22 to 26, 27 miles an hour is about normal. Okay, so there was this one dog yesterday. I don't even know what breed it was. I'm a mutt, okay? Moderate sized dog, decent sized dog. So this thing comes running past like a rocket. Wham! I mean, perfect. Like, you can't make this up, right? Perfect form. Something in the high sevens, okay? So the dog runs past. The owner goes and fetches her. And as they're coming past me, I noticed the dog has 3 legs. It was missing one of her back legs. And she was running. I mean, like, just it was the most, literally, I'm telling you, like the most impressive thing I've ever seen. And the dog actually made a couple of runs yesterday. I was hoping she would be there today, but she wasn't. My Winnie ran her best ever. She ran a 7:57 at 27.26, I believe it was, mile an hour. So that's her best time by a 10th. So go Winnie. Territory. Tony, ever cooked a meal on your exhaust manifold? No. I mean, people do it all the time. I don't know. I just. Let's see. Nathan McGree, Tony, are you still going to race Dr. Art Ranger with Bottle Rocket? Bottle Rocket is sitting there ready to go, and I point it out to Dr. Art every time he's here. Okay, but I don't want to be that guy. I don't, even though I am that guy, I don't want to be that guy that's like, hey man, come on, let's do this thing, right? So I just remind him every time he's here that Bottle Rocket is sitting ready to go. I lit it up for him, right? Maybe like 2 weeks ago, just to remind him, you know what I mean? I started up. I was like, look how good this thing runs. Blah, blah, right? So, and so he hasn't come up with a date yet. I'm waiting on him. So I'm ready. Anytime he's ready to go, we send it. Olive, I didn't see you in the house. Hello, Olive. 72 to 20. YouTube loads up the ads on Tony as punishment for the not financial advice. Yeah. Coffee. Need coffee. Motai says Bottle Rocket was rent free in my head. It's a cool car. It is so hard for us to get out to the track. Everything has to be just so. 5 dogs. They need. There's always something. It's very difficult for us to get to the track. Well, I need to figure out how we could do this. We can get the car out more often and run it more often. I definitely got to work on the 60 footers with that thing. We'll get that soon. Jeff R., I'm missing UT and Kathy trying to control 5 dogs. Oh, you'll see it next week. We'll be back in the backyard again. Let's see. Current Sirocco saying current silver price is $32.27. Okay. Ron Armstrong, sounds like you need a traveling dog sitter. Yeah, well, we have Doris. And she's great. She's great with them. But again, it's just not easy lining everything up. Where the dates that we can get to the track for test and tune and her availability, and it's just a pain. Zero is in the house. What's happening, Zero? Thank you for showing up, my brother. Thunderbird, Tony, ever tried kicking horse coffee? I have not. I have not. I'm going to tell you, it's hard to beat 7-Eleven. I mean, it really is. And this is coming from a guy who roasts his own coffee. Let's see. Stray Bull is saying the advantages of wood gas over propane are clear. You're saying that like a gasifier is going to make more power than propane? No, they're both going to be turds. They're good for minimal function engines. They're not good for performance. Now I have the power of 7-Eleven coffee in me. I am unstoppable. Okay. No horchata tonight. Next week we'll do the horchata. Joe K, no more racetrack. The racetrack is, so I got a 7-Eleven on the way to the shop, so it's easy for me. So I've been hitting the 7-Eleven a lot lately. The racetrack is like out of my way. When we had the shops, we had other locations. I had racetracks near me, so I just switched over to the 7-Eleven because that's what I pass. Let's see. Rocco, did they ever find a Holly 4100? I mean, I've had them in the past. I don't have one currently. I'm not really looking for one yet. Stephen S. Paul, did you ever sell off the propane yet? No, I have it all here. I want it gone. I want it gone. Just come, give me something. Give me a token of some sort and get it out of here. It's really in my way. Let's see. Soul Survivor, do I have to run a fuel pressure regulator on my Edelbach 1406? Only if you're using an electric fuel pump that puts out more than 6 psi. If it's regulated to around 6 psi, 7 psi is okay. So a Holly needle and seat will take 7 psi. A Carter Edelbach seat will take approximately 6. So if you're using just like the regular mechanical pump or a pump that's regulated, internally regulated to no more than 6 psi, no, you don't need one. If you're running like a blue pump or something like that, then yes, absolutely. But yeah, just as long as your fuel pressure is under right about at 6 psi, you'll be okay. War Ghost is saying, "Hey Tony, I'm setting up to open a side business, buying and flipping XJ Jeeps and Chevy Express vans." It sounds good to me. If I wasn't doing this, I would be doing that. D-Truth, Tony, why not run electric fan only on Mission Impossible, like 15 horsepower? We'll get okay. So the stock electric fan that they use, it's a small one and only covers half of it. It gets hot. I tried it already. It gets hot. It gets really hot. So I went back to the clutch fan. It's not that bad. It's not 15 horsepower. That clutch fan isn't pulling 15 horsepower. Maybe 7 or 8. Stray Bullet, how about compressed air? Tomorrow, we're doing a video on compressed air supercharging. I would have actually done it this morning before we went off to the dog thing. I would have done it this morning, but I'm trying to find some reference material in old magazines because there were a couple of very interesting examples of compressed air supercharging that have already been run, already been like sorted out and stuff like that. So, but tomorrow morning, we're doing a video on compressed air supercharging. Let's see. Oliver's saying I got a weird thing where I like Racetracks objectively terrible hamburgers. I didn't know Racetrack had hamburgers. They have pizza where I am. Maybe they have burgers by you, but they have pizza over here, and it sucks. The pizza, the crust is okay. The sauce isn't bad, but they use like this skim, like skim cheese, skim milk cheese, and it's like the most hateful. It's like wet toilet paper on top of a pizza. That's what it is. It's got the same taste and the same consistency as wet toilet paper. Horrible, absolutely horrible. Let's see. Mopar Man, Tony, I installed the aftermarket distribution block with 1967 manual master cylinder on my mom's 65 Valiant with 9-inch drums. I've blended the entire brake system, tightening everything. Brakes still spongy. You probably have something trapped at the master. Bleed the master. But don't bench bleed it. Bleed it on the car. If you know how to, do you know how to bleed it on the car? Oliver's never dared their pizza. Yeah, don't. It's bad. Let's see. Thunderbird 68 happens to love wet toilet paper. Well, then go get some Racetrack pizza. No. Mexican Spec. No, Racetrack is a gas station chain here, not the actual racetrack, right? But Racetrack's a gas station chain. Okay. Stuck proportioning valve, possible, but it's usually just air trapped. Mopar Man is saying yes, bled master through brake system. No. See, that's what I said. You know, that's why you have trapped air. You cannot bleed the master through the brake system. You have to bleed the master first, then the brake system, because right there at the top of the lines, okay, you're gonna have an air pocket. The way you get rid of it, I don't know, explain this to some. You need two people. Right? Somebody's got to be in the car. Okay, so the way you do it is you have them. You crack a line. You crack the front line, right, or the one closest. It doesn't matter really. Crack either line. Have them put their foot to the floor. Then tighten the line. Have them let up. Okay. Then you repeat. Don't pump it. Just repeat that step again. Right. Crack the line. Have them put the pedal to the floor. When the pedal's on the floor, tighten the line back up. Right. Then bring the pedal up. Then do that 2 or 3 times on the first one, and then go to the second one and do the same thing. So after you've done that, after you've made that step, then you can bleed the rest of the system. But if you don't do that first, you'll always have air trapped up there. Let's see. What, you don't like air in the brake lines? I happen to like it. I like a spongy pedal, but a lot of people are weird like that. They don't. It's just weird. Moral platitudes. Have you ever had problems with a stuck closed heat riser? I think everybody who's ever messed with old cars has had stuck heat risers at one point or another. Yes, absolutely. Mopar Man is saying, yes, I already bled the master cylinder first. Did you? I never bench bleed them. Bench bleeding is a waste of time. I bleed them exactly the way I just explained it to you. The way, right? That's how I bleed master cylinders. If you bench bleed the master and then transfer it to the car, when you connect on the lines, you still have an air pocket at the top of the line. Pope Uncle Tony. I'm the poop. Let's see. New graphics. Hello from St. Kitts, Ontario. Welcome. Rocco is saying fill it and let it gravity bleed, then bleed as normal. Yeah, I'm big on gravity bleeding. Anybody who works by themselves is very familiar with all of the steps involved in gravity bleeding. Thunderbird 68. Tony, any advice on which type of oil pressure gauge to run? One that doesn't leak. I mean, as long as it's reading, and even at that accuracy, does it really matter if it's 5 psi off? As long as it's showing you that you've got pressure, and then it's not like dipping and going crazy. Any oil pressure gauge. I don't pay attention to stuff like that. I need oil pressure gauge. I go hunting around whatever box I happen to find one in, or in it goes. Let's see. Territory, Tony, regarding compressed air supercharging, how would an engine with a SC, be in slow driving off-road conditions? Normally aspirated. So there's a couple different variations on it, but at low speeds, you're running off, or just like regular driving, you're running off of normal atmospheric pressure. And then when you're on it, a valve closes and allows the compressed air to run the motor. Well, Thunderbird, I mean like a fluid one or an electric one. Don't any trucks ban fluid line gauges? No, you have to have. They don't want you to have a plastic line. Now, I've never had a problem with that. I've got countless cars tech. Well, again, it depends on the type of car. If it's a street type of car, a slower car, something runs in the 11s, that type of thing, nobody's going to be paying attention. But they want a hard line. They want like a copper or a steel line to the fuel, or a braided steel even. That's fine. To an oil pressure gauge or a fuel gauge for that matter. But the actual gauge, no. You can use a fluid gauge. You don't have to use an electronic gauge. But to pass a tech at an event where they're going to actually tech and scrutinize, and you got a faster car, then yeah, you should. But you should have a steel line on there anyway for a faster car. One car garage. Hey Tony, what was your quickest street car? Oh God, I had one that ran 1530, which was like holy jeez. I don't ever want to go that fast again, to be honest with you. That was a little crazy. Yeah. I see these wild men out there going like 15 teens and like dipping into the 14s, and I'm like, oh no, whoa, baby, hey, no, not for me. Publius Spocanius. I don't know how to pronounce that. Ever hear of early 1950s Cunningham sports cars? Yes, built in Florida with 331 DeSoto Hemis and roller cams. Italian design roadster with coupe bodies. I didn't know about the roller cam part, but yes, I've heard of the Cunninghams. Rocco, not everybody gets sarcasm. What's sarcasm? Let's see. Chris, what epoxy would you use on aluminum intake manifold in the plenum? Dude, I've used JB Weld on like everything. I know there are so many different types of epoxies, But I've used JB Weld in countless, like even on the small port, like small block heads, 273, 318 heads. I always end up grinding through the push rod tubes and JB Weld, and I've never ever had a problem. It holds forever. I wouldn't use water, but to seal, like if you break through, where oil's going to get through there. Yeah, JB Weld is fine. If it's got to hold water, or there's a chance it may need to hold water, then you got to use one of the better epoxies. And off the top of my head, I can't think of what they are. But and if you're just using it to like smooth a pour, create a contour, yeah, JB Weld works fine. Just make sure it's like super super clean, or it won't stick. Google Newt. Thanks for explanation on the CV carburetors. I guess everything else I'd find out the forums and manuals. So I get comments all the time, right? Do tech. People want to know about tech. They want how to fix things. So I do videos like that. I do as frequently as I can afford to do them, because when I say I do them as frequently as I can afford to do them, because they don't get any freaking views. I did 2 of them in a row. Okay, I did the CV carburetor one, and then I did the secondary the idle adjustment on the Holly. Right, neither of them have cracked 20,000 views. That the problem with that isn't so much that I can't make any money like that. That's besides the point. It hurts the algorithm. When I put out a video, okay, so YouTube wants to see X amount of views based on your number of subs. Okay, so we've got 400 something thousand subs. They want to see 10% of that. Okay, they want to see a video hit around the 40,000 range. When you come in at half of that, YouTube punishes you and they hold your videos back. They stop sharing your shit. So I mean, just for you guys that complain about, maybe complain isn't the wrong word, right? But for you guys are like, do more tech. We need more tech. You have to understand, I'm cutting my throat when I do simple tech stuff, right? I'm cutting my own freaking throat. Territory, I came to UTG to become a YouTube certified mechanic. A YouTube certified hack is what you'd be known as. Sean Davison, any update on the Purple 67 Impala? Look, here's my update. Here's the update on this Purple 67 Impala. That's it. That's the update. Hot Shoe was saying the quickest he ever ran was a 621. I did a 60 foot once. It was about a 621, 22, like that, in that range. It's good 60 foot. I don't want to go any quicker than that. It was just craziness. Thunderstruck 666. I like the diversity of subjects on your channel. Always different stuff. It's perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I do try to mix. I like to mix it up because I don't want to watch the same. Like I watch YouTube too, and I don't really want to watch somebody repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I try to produce the kind of channel that I would want to watch. Thumper ran a 1471 one time and about peeled the skin off your face. Dude, I can't imagine what the acceleration must be like there. I mean, just all your organs are getting like smashed up and like your brain all plastered against the back of your head. Ooh, it's crazy. Man. So Tony, I did the process you mentioned before. I asked, but still spongy with the new brake shoes front and back. Are they adjusted, bro? Do you have everything adjusted? Are you familiar with adjusting drum brakes? Right? You got the wheel off the ground and you're spinning the wheel and as you're spinning the wheel, you're getting like a light scraping, right? Okay, do this, right? Do this. This is hard to explain on a live, but I'll do it anyway, right? All right. So you know the slot at the in the backing plate that you adjust from, right? Okay. As you're making your adjustment, as you're tightening it, occasionally, right? Take a long screwdriver, stick it in that slot, and push the star wheel back and forth, like side to side. Okay, and you'll see obviously the tighter you get, the less movement side to side there's going to be. Because if you don't do that, if you're not aware of that, you could be tightening the star wheel and only one shoe is in contact. And so you'll spin the wheel and you'll get that light scraping in sound. And you'll say, aha, this is adjusted correctly. But no, the other shoe is like really far away. So what I do is I'll go like, let's say 5, 6, 7 clicks, click, 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 and click, 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 click. And then I'll take the screwdriver, and I use a screwdriver. I was supposed to use a brake spoon. I use a screwdriver, and I'll stick it in there, and I'll push the star wheel all the way one way, and then I'll push the star wheel all the way the other way. And then I'll know, right, how much actual gap there is, between the shoe and the drum. So try using that procedure when you adjust them. Adjust all four, and then see what the pedal feels like. Okay. Old 442, cigs are bad for you. Early grave for most smokers. Oh, I agree, man. I can't imagine anybody who want to smoke, especially you get like to my age, and it's like you got a foot in the ground already, for Christ's sakes. You know what I mean? And then to actually push your luck, right? Smoking cigarettes, never. I would never consider something like that. It's ridiculous. It's a suicide mission. That's like running in the 14s, like Thumper. Smoking is a disgusting habit. It shows you have weak character. Okay, smoking shows you have weak character. Let's see. Luke had Tech Talk late. Paste or liquid wax? I don't have anything that will hold wax. Wait, well, that's not true. That's not true. I have a few cars that hold wax. The liquid is just so much easier. Barry Cuda says we smoke fags in New Zealand. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, we just let them live their own lives. We don't bother with it. I don't care what anybody does. Corey Melvin quit smoking 15 minutes ago. Good for you. I bet you feel a lot better. I know after I quit, forget about it. I could run for miles. It was crazy. I could lift 9 times my own body weight. Yeah, quitting smoking was the best thing I ever did. Rusty the Derelict, Tony, ever ride a pre-1990s Triumph that didn't rattle your teeth out? I went through a brick bike phase for a little bit. I think it's like almost 30 years ago. 20, around the turn of the century, I went through a little bit of a brick bike phase. The worst I had was a Norton Commando, an 850 Commando, for like a week. And it was like, no, this is not an enjoyable motorcycle. I had a couple of I had 2 69 A65 Beezers, and they were very pleasant motorcycles, man. Very pleasant. Let's see. Norton. I hated that bike. Hot shoe, Tony. How did you survive your H2? The H2s. I only had one H2. The H1, the early H1 was the one. The H2, I had a 73. It was okay. I had a 69 I had a 69 and I had a 70 H1. Those were crazy bikes. That thing had like just a ridiculously unpredictable like lunge factor to it. Um, and then they what happened was they detuned them. They detuned one. That's when they brought up the H2 because they figured, well, the extra size will make up for the lack of, uh, I don't know how they changed the tuning on them, port timing, whatever it is that they did. But the earlier, the 69, 70, and probably the 71, oh, I never had a 71, H1s were, those are the bikes the Widowmaker like reputation was built off of. And in like, not to take anything away from the H2s at all, but as far as like the cliche Kawasaki triple, you know what I mean? Like ride it once, feel it forever. Okay, that bike, that's the early H1. That's the early H1. Russ Peter Derelicts is saying, he's laughing. He's saying, my brother had a 500 Kawasaki Mach 3. I rode it one time for a few minutes and never got near it again. That's the bike. That's the bike. And the saying is, ride it once, feel it forever. And it's the truth. It's the truth. And if you ask me, they were the prettiest of them all, too. They were only the white, the peacock white, and they had that sculpted tank. It's been such a long time. I'm remember on the bike. Out of all of the triples, those earliest ones were the most beautiful. Um, Publius Spontaneous. Have you ever run a car on abominable salt flats or wanted to? Completely different than quarter mile, I know, but so many classes attempt. Okay, so no, but see, I've always been an East Coast guy, and to do so, okay, when I was into racing, when I was doing that, okay, the idea was to try to make a living off of it, and at that time you could because we had things like match race and shit like that. So you could run national events, and you can, even first round loser money would cover your expenses, but we could run match races. So and just get paid to show up. Just get paid, fire the car up, do a burnout, get it off the starting line halfway down the track, make a bunch of smoke and fire and stuff like that, get paid. So when I was doing it, that was my motivation for, let's get out there and make this happen. I can make a living off of this. That changed. It's not like that anymore. We're talking about the 1990s. It all changed. It just became corporate, and the match race scene died. So the reason I'm saying that is because yes, Bonneville has always and El Mirage, land speed racing. I've always been interested in it, but because it was never healthy, man. If I do something, it has to be that I'm making money off it. I'm paying my bills off it, and there was no way that I could pay my bills off of, land speed racing. So that's why I know it never. I never got involved in it. I find it extremely interesting. The machinery that they run out there, the flat heads, and all of the oddball combinations and shit is just amazing, right? But like I said, for me, racing was about if I can't pay my bills with it, I can't get involved in it. It's just that simple. So no, I never looked at land speed racing from that perspective. Um, 442 olds. They ruin cigarettes, adding all those addictive chemicals. More profit though. They ruin them with the filters. That's why before I quit smoking, this is what I would smoke, right? Buglers, right? But it's roll your own, no filter, no additives, no craziness. It's just pure tobacco. So when I was still a smoker, that's what I smoked. I one okay, and I just needed to grab, couldn't because you can't find this everywhere. So I grabbed a pack of like Pall Malls or something like that, and it's terrible. You can taste the chemicals. You're smoking like something that's just wrong. It's been like adulterated in too many different ways, and it leaves a terrible taste in your mouth afterwards. So that's why Roll your own. Barracuda, a friend of mine recently bought an old Honda SL350 twin trailer. Those are rare, man. Those are rare, and those are very sought after. Honda had like the twins, like the mid-sized twins, although they're considered tiny bikes today. But they had the CB, which was this CB stands for City Bike. So they had the CB 350. Then they had the CL 350, which was a scrambler style. So it came with like more aggressive tires and a twin high pipe. And then they had the SL, and the SL was like a full-on dirt bike that was streetable. And they didn't sell many of those things. And very, very sought after today. Eddie Marshall, the T500 Suzuki, a Titan. Yes, a very disappointing motorcycle. I had one. Could not get it to go. Couldn't get it to go. There were two-stroke motorcycles that really, really disappointed me. Right, and one was the Titan, the T500, and the Water Buffalo. Right, two Suzukis. They let me down. The Water Buffalo was the biggest letdown of my life. I was like, because they weren't around. I was like, I need to have a Water Buffalo, right? So a water cooled 750 triple. Let's do this thing, right? And it was a cow. It was like riding a silent cow. Well, just very not enjoyable. The T500 was an okay bike, but it didn't have the you want a two-stroke street bike. You go for that lunge, right? And you don't get that out of the T500 or the Water Buffalo. Yes, Cold War motors on the wall. Absolutely, this side, yes. Yeah, I got to get together again with Scott this week. I think. Because Dr. Art is off. He's off. Won't be here this week. We're going to go back to Wednesday nights because my dog class is over. So we're going to go back to Wednesday nights, and I think I'm going to ask Scott if he wants to come on Wednesday night. Scott, if you're watching this, right? Send Kathy Bananas a message if you can make it this Wednesday night at 7:00 Central U.S. time. How about the RD400? Never had an RD400. I had three R5s, which was the one before the RD350. I really love those bikes. They were a little tiny, a little like undersized, but they were super fun. I had an RD350, but I sold it before I ever actually got it running and sorted out. It was like I bought a basket case. But I have ridden them. The 400 I never rode. Rocco, Tony, any chance you do a video with Andy Mays about the Mopars he ran in the King of the Street series? I would. Andy's camera shy. I would love to. He's got both of the Challengers sitting outside his shop. I could ask him. But he's camera shy. Great guy, but he just doesn't want to do YouTube. Let's see. Shangri-La 73 Eldorado. Tony, deregulation is madness. Business cannot be trusted. Lawsuits won't keep pharma or Wall Street or any other industry in line. No, but we can and we will. And the more people are learning, okay? People are learning. They're understanding the nature of of our currency. They're understanding the nature of. Oh wait, I got a message from Kathy Bananas. So the people are starting to wake up. The masses are starting to wake up, and that will put industry back in line. It's not going to happen in one day. All right, so I can't change the night yet. She has a new class on Wednesdays. Okay, so back to Thursday nights. So if Scott, if Cold War Motors, if you want to do this Thursday night at 7 o'clock my time, let me know. Yes, we're back to Thursdays. Right, Kathy Banana's in the house. For too old. Timu just got zapped in the USA anyway. I've heard. What's happening fun with cars? Kathy's saying, Rocco, this is how things run smoothly. Yeah, she runs the program from the shadows, right? She's always in the background. She's always watching. She's always listening, right? She's always there. Kathy Bananas is omnipresent, kind of like Zero, right? The two of them. Let's see. Shangri-La Eldorado, what is Tony smoking? I'm not smoking. And if I was smoking, I would be smoking carrot peelings, dried carrot shavings. It's the only healthy way to smoke. Kathy's message, this is not financial advice. Thank you, Scoop. No, I don't smoke. It's a disgusting habit, and no. And I don't want to even want to have anything to do with people who do smoke. Period. The end. Redonk, an omniscient being. Yes. Boss for trying. Am I being silenced? No, you're never being silenced. Chris Triumph. All the cool guys rode water buffaloes. Oh, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Water buffalo is a good touring bike. That's what it's good for. It's not. That's right. Kathy runs things from the mothership. The bong full of Fruit Loops. Everything in those things. Uh-oh. Did the chat freeze again? I think the chat froze. Oh, God. Are we still on? Hang on, guys. Top chat. I don't know if you could hear me or see me because everything on my end froze up. Try to live chat again. There we go. Okay, we're moving. All right. Sorry, guys. Sometimes this thing was just it freezes up, and then I don't know if we're still on or. Let's see. MH. Did you ever explore those Edelbrock Holly carbs much more? Your review was damn good. Initial view, dude. I have done. I have done more carburetor videos than anybody else on YouTube. Right? You name it. I've covered them all, and like pretty much every aspect of them you could think. let's do that. Like that one with the adjusting the secondary uh, uh, idle stop or throttle stop. Um, yeah, no, I've done more carburetor videos probably than anybody else on YouTube. Just search my channel and Carter, Edelbrock, Holly, Rochester, um, tons and tons of videos. The Lost Wrench Garage. Howdy, Uncle Tony from Western PA. What's happening, brother, man? Uh, Chris Triumph, the really cool guys rode Bonnies. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. That's true. Bonnies and Sportsters. I'm a Sportster guy. I love Sportsters. And like today, people are like, "Oh, that's a chick's bike," yeah, right? But if you go back to let's say the '60s and the '70s, especially the early '60s, the Sportster was like a full-on sport bike, and it really ran unchanged, other than like evolutionary steps until 2003. Was it that the scumbag idiots that at the motor company squashed it? So you go back to like 1957, 1958, 59, early 60s. The Sportster was the hottest thing there was until you got to the CBs, like the CB 750. Honda put an end to that. But yeah, absolutely. Triumphs and Sportsters. Mexican Spec, I rode a real chick's bike, a Honda Matic. I've ridden them too. I rode the 400 and I rode a 750. And the reason why they stopped making those, or they did away with them, was because when people would be making a turn, like they ride it in the wet, okay, and let's say you're going around a turn, when it shifts, evidently that shift was enough to kick the back tire out, and you'd go for a low side with it. Evidently that's why they stopped making them. They stopped pushing them. Too many people were low siding them because of the shift happening at just an inopportune time. Stray Bullet, you got into your first serious motorcycle crash on an SL. What was my first serious motorcycle crash? Oh God. Yeah. So, Kathy Bananas would remember this one. I had oh God, it was an XS650. It was a Yamaha. And anyway, I was 20 years old. I was making a lunch run or a parts run, and I took the motorcycle, and I on Richmond Terrace on Staten Island, and I went down. I hit the road hard enough on my hip, right here. Okay, right exactly here. I hit the road. It wasn't a slide, right? I bounced off the road, and I did it hard enough that it pushed my hip bone through the skin, right? So it was just like a silver dollar size like mush of meat, right? So I was still. This was like the middle of the day. I had to keep working, so I got banged up a little bit in other ways too. But that was like the injury. So make a long story short, um, I had underwear on, and the underwear got stuck in the injury there. So when I went home that night, I cut it out. Okay, like because I couldn't pull it out. It was all smashed into the meat. So I took a scissor and I cut that section of underwear out, right? And then just left it, and the skin grew over it. So like after I decompose, okay, if they ever like exhume me or anything like that, there's going to be like a silver dollar hunk of Fruit of the Looms laying there next to my hip. Kathy Bananas, do you remember that one? Um, Full duty. What is your next project for it? Seeing a small block versus big block in the same car, or make a no replacement for displacement take on bottle rocket? No. Okay, so I was actually thinking of that today, this morning. So no question, the next thing that's going to go in there, I've got that 3D3 that I bought. I did a video on it, and it's still hanging off the back of my record right now. So we're going to do a tear down on that engine. We're going to fix what's wrong with it, and we're going to put it back together again as a day two engine, right? So like typical 1970s, 1980s, like street machine engine, right? We're going to do all of the stuff because that's what it is. It's legitimately what it is. So we'll put it back together again, stick it in the car, and see how fast it'll run. The next phase after that is going to be something with a roots blower. I need something with a roots blower. Um, it'll be another. The car is set up. I can get big blocks in and out of there easy. So I'm just going to stick with big blocks, and I'll probably do a roots blown 3D3 or like a 400. And try to stay away from 440s because they're too cliche. Everybody uses them. So the next plan with that, like I said, is going to be just that 3D3. We'll do it as a day two muscle car engine and see what it actually produces. We'll put it on a dyno. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to use it as a mule car, because I don't have an engine dyno. And getting stuff on an engine dyno is a pain in the ass, right? But it's easy to put on a chassis dyno. So that's the plan for it. First, we do the 3D3 and put it in there, and then we're going to do a roots blown motor and then go from there. Paul Cavazzolo, 671 in nitro. Oh, God, I know, man. I know. There's no place for it. There's no place for it anymore. Okay, Semi Scooter. You again. Yes. I always ask about the GM 3800s. Have you ever reviewed any of that platform from your magazine days? Or were you out of it by then? Even earlier, at least, the Ford SC 3.8. So I did a drag test on the Super Coupe, the 3.8, that never made it to print. And I ran in the 14s with it. I don't remember how fast I went with the thing, but I ran in the 14s with it. It never made it to print. We shot it. We shot it at Island Dragway. Neil Van Opry was with me. He shot it and helped with the story and all of that. But like I said, it never made it to print. The 3800, I'm trying to remember what I would have had with a 3800 in it, and I'm drawing a blank, man. I'm drawing a blank. But I do remember the Super Coupe. That's the thing. When you do this stuff, like when you do the magazine, actually it happens with YouTube videos too. But there's a lot of stuff that you do that just doesn't make it, for whatever reason. With the Super Coupe, we just didn't have room for it, and there wasn't really enough interest in that type of car to actually, you know what I mean? So to bump something out. So you end up doing a lot of things that never get to see print. And sometimes you do a YouTube video and it's like, no, this is going nowhere, and you shelve that too. Shangri-La, the moto accident was Richmond Terrace and where? So the shop was on the corner of Richmond Terrace and Castleton Avenue, and I was on my way to Archer's, which was I don't know if Archer's is still there or not. It's an auto parts store. It was. Only no, I wasn't going to Archer's. I was going to Cacciamani Brothers, which was a little bit further past. It was within around a half mile from Richmond Terrace and Castleton Avenue. Why do I remember that? I don't know why I remember that. Betty Carfano, are you going to do any more motorcycle dyno videos? Yes. I didn't get a chance. So I was at last Thursday night. I was at it was at AV Power Sports. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. He actually had a Harley on the dyno. It was a 185 horsepower Harley. Um, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him about it. There were other things going on that night. But yeah, we're gonna get back to that. Mike Boger, Tony, are Magnum heads that much better than like a set of J heads on a 360? I'm afraid so. Yeah, the Magnum heads work really well. They got a great combustion chamber. Um, yes, it's a superior head. The smaller diameter valve stems, um, they're just a better head. They're a better head. Um, MH, speaking of print, since HMM now killed Hemming's muscle machines. Oh, well, Hemming's motor, yeah, now killed Hemming's muscle machines. Pretty left bereft. Uh, Hell, I shed a tear when Popular Hot Rodding was killed. My least favorite magazine of all time. Thoughts on the topic? The topic, you mean print? Dude, print is just done, right? It's just done. The cost of producing print, everything, right? The paper, the ink, the time, the shipping, all of that stuff, right? It all adds up. No, you'll have special editions, coffee table books. There's some people who just love to have something print in their hands, but the days of being able to find quality material in print are over. Over. It's a shame. It's a shame. I kind of wish, part of me says I wish that the print was still a thing, mostly because everything we do today here now is gone. Okay. Um, Kathy Bennett saying 1840 Richmond Terrace. That was the shop. Okay. Um, everything that's on YouTube now will eventually disappear, never to be seen or heard from again. Where print 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, you'll still be able to find, like the information. So in that respect, yes, I'm sorry the print is gone. But on the flip side, we could do so much more. Okay. The thing with print was that, and you really got to take this from somebody who was part of it, right? The problem with print was that it was an elitist thing, right? You had to either know somebody, you had to be in a clique, in a circle, or you had to be outstanding, like really outstanding, to find a home in print. And because of that, it left the vast majority of people who were capable of doing really good stuff out in the cold. Um, Print was an elitist thing. You had a sum total of maybe 20 or 30 people that were involved and were spread out over the magazines that were producing content. And now you've got 20 or 30, close to 1,000 people doing things, right? So in that respect, I'm glad print is dead, because so many people who never would have had a chance, who never would have got their voices heard or their talents shown or anything like that, they got a chance now. I'll tell you right now, a lot of the people who are big in YouTube, right, or automotive YouTube, never would have made it in print. Never, the door never would have opened for them. So in that respect, print is dead and buried, and I'm happy to see it gone. Um, Mike's XS, are you planning to delete your YouTube videos, or why do you say it's going to be gone one day? Well, at some point when I decided that I've had enough of this and I quit YouTube, kind of the way I quit smoking. Yeah, I'm deleting the channel. Done, right? Because at that point, I'm going to want to move on in life, and I don't want to be held back by what I did in the past. And it's how I do with everything, right? When I'm finished with something, I move on and I reinvent myself. I do something completely different. So when I do say I'm done with YouTube, yeah, I'm deleting the channel, deleting everything, it all goes away. But that's besides the point. Just by virtue of the fact that new, I explain to you, like things that were, let's say, popular on YouTube 15 years ago, right? 18 years ago, 20 years ago, because YouTube's 20 years old now. Gone. It's so far off the back burner. You know what I'm saying? It just gets deleted. It just gets forgotten. The further down the line you go, the more stuff, new stuff comes in, and the old stuff just fades away to oblivion until it's finally erased off of whatever server or however they do it. So this is all going to go away eventually. Stray Bullet, don't you still get paid for the old videos? Oh, yes. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I decided to do YouTube, because I can get paid while I sleep. So yeah, I get paid off of videos I did 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. That's how I make money. But when I decide that I'm done with YouTube, I'm going to be done with YouTube and move on. I think that's the healthiest way to do things. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up to you guys here. KJ Kylie, he's getting misty-eyed. Mexican Spec, just turn off commenting and leave the videos up. Listen, I have my way of doing things. You know what I mean? And they've served me well for a really long time. And when I'm done with something, bye. You know what I mean? I'm done and I move forward. And I don't want to be like sucked back. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? Let's see. Um, 7203 sell the channel to Dulcich. He's got his own channel. He's doing okay. He's doing okay. Chris Triumph, like Demo Range, goodbye. Yeah, I tell you what, I got to give him a lot of, I got to hand it to him. So that guy's got a healthy attitude. He's got a really healthy attitude. He was just like, you know what, guys, I'm done. And he gave everybody a notice, a couple of months notice that, listen, we're going to be ending this channel. He did some more content, and then, that was it. It was like he was done. And that's a very healthy way to do things. Yeah, you don't want to keep doing something past the point of being relevant, or when it just becomes a like monotonous. There is a lot of monotony to this. You got to understand, making content, coming up with new ideas, and keeping things moving, and it's the mentals, like, what I mean? You guys have no idea. It's a lot of mental work. So yeah, Demolition Ranch, I got to hand it to him. I don't know. I don't know. Did he keep the channel up? Is he keeping the channel up, or is he? I don't know. 80 Cobra Guy saying all information will be lost in the Carrington event anyway. And yes, 80 Cobra Guy is right. Let's see. One for the road. We will get AI Tony videos from YouTube owning your likeness. It'll happen. It'll happen. Loud pipe saves lives. Cabral says you ran out of content a long time ago. How is old Brian doing? I haven't. It's been a long time. I had so many trolls. I miss my trolls. There was a guy used to call it the Troll Farm, and we had Brian Cabral and Mr. Slinger, and oh God, there was some man who was Mr. Will. All these guys were Mr. Um, I can't remember them all, but I had this like this troll farm that was like all over everything that they did. These guys, they were making videos about me constantly. It was I loved it. It used to drive Kathy crazy. It drove all my friends crazy because they're like, these guys are talking bad shit about you. I'm like, but they're talking about me. Don't you get it? This is it. This is how you win. So yeah, no, it was. I do miss the trolls. Um, One for the road is saying the reality is all the misters were one dude with multiple profiles. No, no, there were several different. Yeah, no, they were definitely different people. There were some of them that had multiple profiles. Yeah, like Brian had probably 10 different names that he posted under. Um, it was fun. It was fun. Uh, acid spit storm child. Is that your birth name? Um, you and Dead Dodge Garage helped me rebuild my first 904. Thank you. Yeah, no, Jamie's awesome. Jamie see, it's like you don't need me. You got Jamie. Jamie is like mini me. Okay, he's 30 years younger than me, and he's already like way, way advanced. The kid's amazing. Kid, he's not a kid. He's a grown man. To me, he's a kid. Everybody's a kid, right? Um, but yeah, you've got people like Jamie. You seriously do not need me. You know what I mean? There's another generation coming up. Um, Chris Triumph, Tony, it's springtime. My lawnmower won't start. Any advice? Yes. Take your lawnmower. You think, so you're gonna think I'm joking, right? You're gonna be like, oh, come on, he's pulling my leg, right? No, seriously, right? Take your lawnmower, right? And shake it like crazy. Grab the handles, okay, and shake it like crazy, up, back and forth, up and down, like banging around, slamming around for I don't know, like 20 seconds. Okay, do all of that, then try to start it, and it'll fire right up, right? Because what happens separates. Okay, so the water goes to the bottom of the bowl, and the jet can't pull the water up, and it's the pilot jet, right? Can't pull the water up for it to start. So if you shake it around and mix it up and stuff like that, you're gonna move the water to the top, the gasoline will come to the bottom, the pilot jet will pick it up, and it'll fire right up. So that's I can't tell you how many lawnmowers you find them on the side of the road, and like they just put them out at the curb, and you go over there and you give them a little shake, pull the thing, fires right up. Uh, Mark Sauvé is saying Tony's right on that. Chickenick said the same thing. Gungaroot, I always just drain the bowl. Yeah, but most people don't. Zero is saying sounds like old world thinking. Shake to fix. Yeah, yeah. That's how we learned as kids. Our parents would just shut up. They grab you like that, and shake a baby syndrome. Torino Elite. I threw my trimmer about 20 feet last week. It's never run better. There you go. You got to brutalize your machinery, and it responds. AutoX, shake it like a Polaroid picture. You're old, bro. You're at least as old, if not older than me. And yes, no, this is not baby advice. Thank you, Olive. (72Z28) machines respond to violence more than being nice. I've always said you got to show it who's boss. You got to show it who's boss. That's how, like, even for like fresh motors and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, okay, you gave birth to this thing, and now you have to show it who's boss, like right away. Publius Spokanius. Read 2 issues of Hot Rod recently. Waste of time. Fantasy bills of show cars built with cubic money and pages of advertising. I know. It was always like that. Hot Rod was great. Hot Rod was great. So, like, different magazines had different eras that were really like dead on. Okay, like for instance, Superstock and Drag Illustrated. That magazine in like the 1966, 7, 8, 9, 70, 71, 72 was amazing, right? And then it kind of fell off from there, right? Had a little period of time where it came back. Carcraft magazine from 1968 through 1974 was amazing. Carcraft magazine, there's more information you can find in those issues of Carcraft magazine, stuff that's relevant today, right? I mean, things that I do videos on, they were talking about in those magazines, 70, 71, 72, 73. Hot Rod was at its pinnacle about that same period of time. 1965, 1966 is when Hot Rod really became like a thing. Up until about the same period, 1975, 1974, 1975. Those magazines were gold. Popular hot rodding was always shit. It was always just a lot of fluff. I never liked Popular Hot Rodding magazine, but there was a golden age of car magazine that really, really good stuff. Mark Survey, you missed Bracket Racing USA. That was Steve Collison's thing over at CSK. So I had been pushing Schneider. Steve Schneider was the publisher, the owner at CSK. And I had been pushing him to do a drag racing magazine. And he just didn't want to do it. He just refused to do a drag racing only magazine. So when I left there to go to Harris, this was in 1988. I don't know, 1988 or 1989. I don't remember exactly. I went over to Harris and I started Mopar action. I started Mustang action to compete with Muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords. And I did a magazine with Norman Blake called Drag Racing Monthly? No, Drag Racing Illustrated. I don't remember. I started a drag racing magazine. We put like 3 issues out. So Steve Collison went to CSK at the same time that I left and went over to Harris. And Collison started Bracket Racing USA to compete against the drag racing book that me and Norman Blake were putting out. Ours took a shit. We got like 3 issues out of it, and the publisher was like, done. You guys are done with this. But Bracket Racing USA hung in there for a while. It was actually a pretty good magazine. But at the time, I considered Bracket Racing to be like automotive communism, right? Now I have a completely different outlook on it today, right? But back then in the 1980s, I only knew two things. There's only two things I knew about, only two things I cared about: street racing and blown nitro. And neither of them included any sort of handicaps, right? You see what I'm saying? So I considered bracket racing to be automotive communism. It's like, why even have a hot rod? Why do anything? Just to take whatever stock car you have and go run it, because the speed of the car is completely irrelevant. Your mechanical skills, your cunning and stuff like that. What I didn't like about bracket racing was that it featured the driver. And I could care less about the freaking driver. I don't want to know anything about the driver. I want to know about the machinery. And bracket racing was about the driver and the driver's reactions and so on and so forth. So I was like, bracket racing. But he did good with that magazine. He did better with his magazine than I did with my magazine. Danny Boyd is saying bracket racing is like 8th mile racing. Wrong, bro. 8th mile racing. 8th mile is where it's at. Now that I've become immersed in 8th mile, rhetoric, I never want to see another quarter mile. The 8th mile is it. That's all the action happens in that first 600. You go past that, and it's just like you're wasting your time. You know what I mean? Nothing's going to happen out there. All your action is going to happen in that first eighth. So no question about it, man. I am a firm 8th mile believer now. Chris Triumph, Tony, I'm going to cook a pot roast in the crock pot slow cooker. Should I put the carrots in at first or later? I'll put them in first, man. Put them. Those things. You want them to be like really soft. Put them in first. Let's see. Andrew Button, 8th to me was always like only getting half the experience. We had quarter mile here for 58 years. Until I moved to Tennessee, all I knew was a quarter mile, right? Everything was quarter mile. But again, after you become accustomed to it, and you think about it, what happens? So typical, right? Typical drag racing, right? What happens from the 8th mile to the quarter? What is going on in that space, right? 95% of the time, whoever leads at the 8th is going to lead at the quarter. Okay. By the 8th mile, all of your shifting is done. All of the traction, everything that you got to work on, right? To put a perfect balanced run together. All of that stuff happens in the first 8th, right? By the time that once you get to the 8th, now you've got that next 8th mile, and all you do is sit there and listen to your shit try to unscrew itself, right? All you're doing is sitting there for 660 feet, listening to your thing scream and like get expensive. That's it. That's the only thing the second half of the track is good for. Everything, all of the action happens, all of the important stuff happens in the first 8th mile. Damage happens in the second 8th mile. Um, 69 Falcon Twin. Tony, have you thought about a new Hemi for Bottle Rocket? No, I'm not interested in a new Hemi at all. Not that it's a bad engine. I'm not saying that it's a bad engine, but it's covered, right? There's so many people that work with those engines. If nobody was working with them, right, then yes, I would definitely consider it. But there's nothing I can do with it that's unique or different. Where the 318, working with a basically stock 318, That's different. Nobody else is doing stuff like that. So that's what led me down that path with that car to begin with, and that's why I'm going to stick with it. Um, there's people out there doing. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, right? It would be pointless. So I just stick with my little niche, and it works. Uh, Jesus H. Christ is saying, if damage happens in the eighth mile, she's, oh, I know, but more damage happens in the second half. Think of it this way, right? Think of it this way. You can hurt your motor in the first eighth, right? Let's just say you have an oiling issue, you spin a bearing, okay, in the first eighth. You'll know because it has no oil pressure, because it's clunking on the shutdown. You know there's a problem, right? But when you have that problem in the eighth and you have to go to the quarter, it's at 1,000 feet that it throws rods out. You see what I'm saying? Whoever throws rods out in an eighth mile, you never see that. You see plenty of damage, plenty of carnage, but nobody ever windows an engine. Very, very rarely do they window an engine in the eighth. Um, Joe K. Tony, what about cars that don't come? Oh, hang on. I'm sorry. I got. What about cars that don't come alive until the top end? I have no interest in those cars. There's lots of them out there, but I have zero interest in them. Um, enclosed motor. I don't know where the enclosed motorcycles came from. Um, Corey Melvin, just cruising and having fun for me now. Got to keep that hard-earned money protected to a big extent. Oh, you and a lot of people. You and a lot of people. And Oliver's saying roll racing also exists. Yes, it's a big thing, but I have no interest in it. Right? I can only do things that I'm interested in. Trey is a new subscriber. Welcome, Trey, and thank you for choosing UTG. I appreciate it. Um, let's see, 69 Falcon. Do you still have the old Hemi? Yes, I have the 426. It's sitting here, but I haven't done anything with it. I will at some point. Do I know Jim Glastonbury? The name rings a bell, but I couldn't say. I don't know. I don't know. I might. Jeffrey Noons, Tony, your bang for the buck and fun is off the charts. Yes, because all I really want to do is have fun. You know, and a lot of that has to do with age. Okay, so I mean, I'm hyper competitive to a fault. All right, but as you get older, right, you realize that it really doesn't mean anything. It's kind of meaningless. It's like a big dick swinging contest. And I'm past that. I'm over that, right? Now I just want to have fun, and I'm more in line now with most people, right? Like when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, even, I was very blood and guts, right? It's like, oh, gotta win, right? There has to be a purpose for everything, okay? And now that I'm older, it's like, no, I just want to have fun. And most people just want to have fun, and you don't want to break the bank. I don't want to break the bank. I can afford anything I want, but I have more fun working with junk. It's more satisfying. It's more interesting, and my philosophy with this channel, with anything with everything I try to convey. Okay, my philosophy is anything is a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Okay, so our culture, the hot rod culture, right? Muscle car, hot rod, whatever I don't even know what you call it, right? Um, our culture is only as strong as those at the bottom. As though our culture is only as strong as those guys that can scrape by a couple of dollars out of grocery money to buy a used part. You know what I mean? And then spend the time and the energy and the effort to put it together in using their hand tools in their home garage. Those are our weakest links, the weakest link in the automotive culture. And so really for as long as I've been doing this stuff, that's who I focused on. I don't care about the guys that just piss money. You know what I mean? I care about the guys who are struggling, the guys who are learning, the guys that are coming up. That's who I care about. That's who I gear the content towards. So anytime I ever have an idea of, okay, so like for instance, this morning I was thinking about Roots blower. I just miss having Roots blowers. I miss the sound. I miss everything about them, right? So I want to have a Roots blower on. We're gonna put it on a big block, and we're gonna put it in a mule, right? Not now first. We're gonna do the 383. Then we're gonna do the Roots blower motor. But as I was thinking about that, I didn't think, oh, okay, I'll order up a blower, I'll call BDS or Dyers or someone and have them send me a blower. No, do that. I'm going to the scrapyard. I'm going to find a 671, a diesel green 671 on the side of a Detroit, and we're going to build that, right? Because somebody can actually put a blower together. You know what I mean? A functional blower. Okay, it's not going to be Teflon. It's not going to be a stripped blower, but you don't really need that, right? For a street type of car to have some fun, just make some boost, make some noise. You could put together a blower really cheap, like under $1,000, the blower, and then all the little parts you need to convert to, put it on an automotive engine. So that's the thing I have in my mind, right? Yes, let's do a blower motor, but let's do the blower like right out of a junkyard, right off of the side of a 671 diesel. Does that make any sense? Territory Tony, I'm rebuilding a Solex carb acceleration pump is rebuildable. Nowhere to buy the membrane material to make the diaphragm. I have no idea, bro. I'm sorry. John Mace, I bought a flux core welder after watching your video. Super handy. I love them. I love my little flux cores. Stable, did Detroit Diesel still use a blower? I have no idea, but I was over at a scrapyard maybe a month ago or thereabouts, and there were a few of them there, right? Just laying off to the side. And they had the blowers intact. Blower was still bolted to the side of the motor. Mexican spec is saying it's cutting out and buffering. Sorry, guys. I can only do so much. James Hot Rod, I did that for my race car, tore the blower apart, pinned the rotors, flipped them in the case, timed it, and a few other things. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I want to do. And how much? So, James Hot Rod, how much did you have into that blower by the time you were done? 69 Falcon 29. Hey, Tony, what is your choice of simple carburetor? Edelbrock. All day long. All day long, every day. So my rule of thumb, it's not a rule, it's not a hard rule. But my rule of thumb is if I drive it on the street, it gets a Carter or Edelbrock. And if it's going to go to a racetrack, it gets a Holly. Right? And of course, there were exceptions, but as it stands right now, everything that I own that's streetable, like street car, is all Edelbrocks and bottle rocket, sledgehammer, and the mule all have Hollies. James Hotrod, I had $250 in the blower because I did all the work myself. Exactly. So how many people out there, right, would love to have a blower, but they don't understand that you have options. You can buy a junkyard blower and you can do all of this work yourself. You had $250 in your blower, right? As opposed to 2,500. That's a big difference. Okay, like the blower drive is expensive. You're gonna spend for pulleys. You're gonna spend for a belt. You're gonna spend for an idler. It's unavoidable. You're gonna have to spend some money. But the blower itself, yeah, it's 10% of what it cost you to buy one, and then you always get the satisfaction of saying, "I did that myself." Raymond Kamal, I bid you a good night, my brother. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Thumper is saying the drive is $1,000. Yeah, more or less. You could buy some used race parts. Pulleys and belt included. Manifolds vary $700 to $1,200. Yeah, the manifolds can get you. Unless you're doing like a small block Chevy, because you can still find used small block Chevy blower intakes out there for a song. $300, $200, $300. They're out there. 80 Cobra Guy. Oh, the case is aluminum. I thought the diesels use cast iron. No, they're aluminum. Nothing sounds like a roots blown V8. I know, and I do miss that. Although I've never had a roots blown. I've never had a roots blown like street engine. Nitro motors, yeah, but I've never had a roots blown street engine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it's something I've never had. Thumper saying if you can find it for your engine. You're talking about the intake manifold. Dyers has an intake manifold to everything, and if they don't have one, they'll make it for you. Thumper saying I went from having no blowers to having 4 of them. 3800 V6, a 671, an 8 V71, and an 871. Okay, Tony, what is the most exotic engine you ever put your hands on? I don't know. I don't know. I define exotic. I don't know. to the toilet and saying, "What happened to the neighbor with the blower on the 440?" Ralph, I haven't seen him in a while. He was my neighbor at the old shop, but I haven't seen Ralph. Last time I saw Ralph, he had a problem. He was having a problem with a Hemi. I think it was a Hemi Super Bee, and I did a video on that. Um, a couple of videos actually. This is going back about 3 years. That's the last time I've seen him. Um, Chris Triumph. Ciao, Tony. I have a Muddy Woods race on a bike tomorrow. I hope the trees don't rip me off the bike. Good luck with that, man. Uh, Nicholas Brzozowski. I'm still on my 360 break-in high. So relieved. And again, thanks, Tony, for the knowledge. You will be very welcome, my brother. Oliver saying small supercharged engines were appealing to me. Not sure I would need one on a big engine. I, I like the idea of small displacements. Like I'm going to do a 383 when we do the blower motor. Steve Hiller is saying it's too quiet without the dogs. Next week we'll be doing this at the house in the backyard. We have plenty of noise. Publicus, Spokinius, Salt Flats, Hemi, Cunningham, Hot Rod Mag. Thanks, Tony. I'm 3 for 3 today. Yes, bracket racing is for fascists. No, what does fascism have to do with anything? No, communists, socialists, right? Everybody's got to be equal. The fascism is the corporate government. There's two completely different things. Um, thought we were saying I didn't need a blower on my 505. I wanted one. Did you know that 871 is not found in nature? Right? The V871 is, but the regular 871 isn't. That's a racing only or an aftermarket only thing, and the difference is 900 thousandths of an inch. One for the road. Tony, what do I have to do to get you to come up to Carlisle again for the Mopar show? Erase me from the public. Right? If you can erase me from the public eye, where I could just go to the Mopar show and just hang around and look at things and just be myself, then yeah, I'm all there. But unfortunately, that ship is no, there's just no way. Harry List has Kathy healed up yet? She's getting better. She's on the mend. On the mend. She's doing much better. Wear a mask. I go places where like if I go to Cars and Coffee, nobody knows me there. It's because it's a whole different they're much younger people, usually in their 20s and their 30s, and they're into more of the tuner car aspect of things. And I go to like stuff like that. I go to bike meets, bike events and stuff because nobody knows. Like I just blend in with the crowd, right? But if I go to like a Mopars at Carlisle, it's like too many people know me. Mexicans, but Tony set up a booth and sell merch. Never, just never, never. That's like my worst nightmare. No. Vinny C's got to go. Good night, my brother. Thanks for joining us. Boss Voice 100 saying we don't have a cars and coffee here. We have a huge one. Huge. It's at the Nashville Speedway. They do it the first Saturday of every month. So they didn't have it yesterday because of the rain. The forecast was just craziness. So they're doing it next Saturday. If you guys are in the general Nashville area, it's worth checking out. It's huge, thousands of cars and people and stuff like that. It's a really neat event. Let's see. Don't degrade myself like that, UT. Degrade myself like what? Oscar Gonzalez, are you celebrating Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, Uncle Tony? You know what? Probably. Yeah, we're gonna probably go to a Mexican restaurant. I eat a lot of Mexican food. I've gone like full Mexican, man. Well, they closed every Sunday. So they had a place near me called Margaritas, and every Sunday they had a Mexican buffet, and they went out of business. And it's like, I miss it, man. I miss it. There's all the great eateries just disappear, you know. Horatius 763. I'd like to see you do a stream with DJ's Classic Garage. You two have a lot in common and we have a lot to talk about. Possibility. I will check it out. But if Scott, well, I'll message him. I'm going to try to get together with Scott from Cold War Motors on this coming Thursday. James McKinley, hey Tony, have you ever heard if they're going to move forward on the 318 build? I know you're not into it no more because they strayed from your original idea, but I would like to see it run. He did a video on that recently. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Andy in probably a month or two, but I think that they are. I think they're moving forward. I have no idea what they're doing with it, but I'm pretty sure they are. They are moving forward with it. One for the road. Tony, I know you love being down south, and I don't blame you. But what, if anything, do you miss about New Jersey? Well, I lived on Staten Island, which Staten Island is right in the middle between New York and New Jersey. What do I miss about New Jersey? Everything that I would have missed is gone. I mean, it's that simple, right? It's anything that I would have missed. It's nothing but a memory now anyway. There's absolutely nothing there. Nothing. Rocco, before I forget, happy Cinco de Mayo. Yes, same to you. Steve Hillard, Southwest Missouri is overrun with Mexican restaurants. I love Mexican food, man. The only thing I don't is the beans. Okay, it's like, the beans make me angry, but everything else I love. And Josh Hallman, Englishtown would be about it. Englishtown, Atco. I mean, Englishtown was my home track. I literally grew up there. Um, so many firsts in my life happened there. It was an awesome place. And Atco was another one. It just, but like I said, those places are gone. It's gone. It's just a memory. I live here in Nashville. I'm south of Nashville, and especially this time of year, especially in the springtime. Okay, I'll drive around, or I get on a motorcycle and I ride around, and I'm always so blown away on how beautiful, how amazing this area is. I'm here for 22 years. Is it 22? Going to be 23? Something like that. I don't even know. And I've never gotten tired of this place. And I'm always reminded of how amazing it is and how lucky I am to be here. So there's yeah, there's no looking back, man. No looking back. Power Toys, is the new shop what you needed? Are you happy with it? I'm thrilled here. This is great. The old shop was good at first because we moved into the old shop. I needed that kind of space because I had ideas about launching other channels and having other people work on stuff and things going on. So I needed that space. And we tried it. I tried it everywhere that I could. It did not work out. A lot of it may have to do with that sort of thing. Okay, but it didn't work out. So the last year that I was in that shop, it was just like, I gotta get out of here. This was bad, right? That shop was cost me a lot of scuttles too. So moving to this place, and especially being the landlord here is my friend John. He's doing a couple of Hellcat swaps. He's got a Roadrunner and a Cuda. He's doing Hellcat swaps on both of those. I'm surrounded. I got people around me that are very cool. It's a great area. So yeah, this shop is the perfect size for me. It's the perfect everything. So yes, I'm very, very happy here. Let's see. One for the road. If you don't mind the semi-personal question, do any of your kids, etc., have the automotive? No. I am the sole gearhead in my entire bloodline. Let's put it this way: nothing related to me can even fathom anything that I do, much less that we've made it okay here on YouTube. John Mace, any rule of thumb for pipe sizing on a 2-1 exhaust? I've been told no less than 1.25, 1.25 the size of the primary feed. Seems small to me. No less than. So just okay. So just no. I don't have a rule of thumb. I don't. I don't. The biggest diameter that you can get away with, 2 3/4 inch is probably for a typical engine. 2 3/4 up to like 3 inch for something that's really going to move some atmosphere. But no, I don't have a rule of thumb. But where there's tonnage, do you mess around with bicycles too? I don't. I like bicycles, but I just power toys. Do you believe the Fed income tax will go away this decade? Not trying to be pro orange guy or not. Yes, yes. This decade, not only is the income tax going to go away, but so is the Fed, and so is the Federal Reserve note, and so is all of the debt associated with the Federal Reserve note. And yes, that's all going to happen this decade. There's no question about it. Um, Orange guy is making moves. He's got to go slow. He's got to go slow. But it's a search and it's a seek and destroy mission right now. The corporate part of the government, the corporate entity known as United States of America, is done, and this is just it's restructuring and then a reset. That's That's what's happening right now. Annie. Hi, Annie. Um, Scoop, the savings on all the government fraud alone is amazing. Not even scratching the surface yet. I haven't even scratched the surface yet. And when you find out where a lot of that money is going, you'll see. You'll see. Okay, so when do we max out our credit cards? Not financial advice question. I can't answer that, man. I can't answer that. Oliver saying the Doge thing has already cost more than it claims to have saved, and a lot of that is bullshit. How has Doge cost anything? You've got a consortium of computer nerds, right? That are just going through records. How is it's not costing anything? Elon isn't taking any money for it. How has it cost anything? Oh, hey, Tony. Sorry, I'm using my daughter's account here. That's okay. I don't care. Chicks do this stuff too. You have an issue with your V8. Okay, hang on. I got to scroll back up. Your EVA keeps stalling when you put it in a gear after a cam swap. I've tried a few things, but nothing works. Okay, go watch the video I did yesterday. That's it. Literally, go watch the video I did yesterday because I did a video on that problem yesterday. Oliver saying they declared their expenses and all these 7-figure payrolls. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. That's an interesting fact. Alan Schildroth, the smaller the pinchers on scorpions, the more dangerous they are. It's the little ones you got to watch out for. Like in a fight, it's always the little guy. You always got to watch out for the little guy. He will tear your shit up. You never fight a little guy because a little guy can get up inside. That's the thing, right? The little guy's got the advantage because once he gets up inside, you can't do nothing. You can't fight this guy. And he's going like this, and you can't fight this guy. You always watch out for the little ones. So it's like the little picture is the same thing. Um, let's see. And Terrence is going to Malaysia tomorrow. Good, good luck with your trip, brother. Um, Barrows, what's happening, man? That was a good video on the Holly secondary tuning. I've had to do the same thing with Edelbrocks and Carters, but you have to bend the linkage to do the same thing. Yes, I was going to cover those two, but I wanted to keep it just make it a Holly video because that's such a simple, straightforward thing. But yeah, I Edelbrock style too. Maybe I'll do a second video on those. Um, Power Twist, do you like Honda XRs? I have an addiction up to 10 now. Wow. I don't have any. I had an XR 200 for a while. It was a great woods bike, man. Great woods bike. Googer Newt, I wonder why half mile didn't catch on. Same problem between quarter and eighth mile. Well, okay, as somebody who is only focused on straight line stuff, like literally my entire life, I have zero interest ever. I've never considered wanting to go a half a mile. That's just why. Why would you do that? That's crazy. You know, you can determine the race in the eighth or the quarter. Why the hell would you want to go for a half? Last I checked, the whole idea behind drag racing is to make it happen in as little time as possible, right? So why would you want to go all the way out there? Ali the Retro Kid, you should make a video covering the ins and outs of the A833. Done it years ago. Oscar Gonzalez, Uncle Tony, do you believe in coincidences? Not really. Not really. Yes, coincidences do happen, but no, I think there are bigger things. There's more in the world that we can't see, that we can't perceive, that we can't understand, that we can't quantify. There's more in the world like that than we can. You know, by the limitations of our senses and the limitations of the brainwashing that we receive from birth, right? So we have, and that's why I generally don't believe in coincidences. There's much more to the world and the universe than we can perceive. You know, I don't know what it is. I can't know what it is. I'm not wired for it, but I can recognize that it's there and I can respect it. Dean Stevens, especially if the stuff outside the world has extra dimensions. Dude, there's just so much. There's just so much. Ice Spider Garage, what's happening, brother? Power Toys, you should link up with Buff Del Campo on a live again. If Buff is down in the area, yeah, I'd love to. He's up in Crossville. Him and Kim are up there. If they ever trip down this way on the time that we're doing a live, of course, they're always welcome. Stray Bullet, how about those spectator drag races at circle tracks? That's some crazy stuff, man. That's some crazy stuff. Yeah, I've seen some of that. By the way, have you dealt with any oil leaks on your Cherokees? Yeah, the white one that I use for towing, has a oil filter adapter and there's an O-ring behind it, and that's leaking on that one. The problem is it's got a Torx bolt on it, right? A Torx head bolt, and the angle that it's on is absurd. So I've got to actually jack the motor halfway and up and be able to get in there. It doesn't want to break. I tried everything under the sun. So for right now, it was supposed to fix before, over the winter. I never got to it. So for right now, it drips a quart every 100 miles or so. So I've just been staying on top of it. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Those oil filter adapters are known to leak. Um, Oscar Gonzalez has an oil leak like that on a Crown Vic. Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you just live with. You know what I mean? It's like, is it really worth the effort right now to So I'll get to it eventually. I save oil. If oil is decent, you know what I mean? I save it. So it's like that's what I do. It doesn't cost me anything. I don't know, probably like 6 or 7 gallons of good used oil. So only in there for a break in, or you know what I mean? So I save it and just throw it in, go to the track, throw a quart in, come back. Lacey Galloway, you're dealing with the same thing on your Cherokee now. Yep, it's a common problem. Uh, One for the road. Tony, regarding the SHO Ranger build, they found a connecting rod bearing that worked to replace the discontinued ones. Cleveite 1437, intended for a mid-80s Supra, prior to Tanga hair. Interesting. I mean, not that I'm ever going to come across that, but that might be valuable information for somebody who wants to, who's working with that. Um, Thunderbird 68, I dropped my oil pan and reused my oil twice. Just clean your drain pan well first. Yeah, exactly. Um, so is Dr. Art sold Big Richard? Last, I haven't talked to Dr. Art in a week, but he still had it last week. Let's see. Is it unheard of to pull 20 mile per gallon highway on a stock 2-barrel 318 in a mid 70s Charger? No, no. Should be able to do it. 20 on the highway with the right gears. Yeah, if you can't hit 20, you can come close enough. I mean, probably 18, 19. Guys, it's late. I didn't realize what time it is. We're way over. We usually go 2 hours, 2:14. I'll hang for another couple of minutes and then we're going to go. Occasional buffering. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happens here with the buffering. I had the internet guys here looking at it and they couldn't find any problems. Barry Cuda, Tony, your opinion, will good oil eventually go bad in an unused car? No, it's fine. It's fine. D. Stroud,